So I'm here with Billy Sutherland, who's going to be fighting this weekend, and like it's a historic card. It's the 50th installment. It just shows how strong Clan Wars has been through the years. He's going to be fighting for a second belt to become a double champ. Obviously, there's an opponent in the way, but thank you very much for your time. It's fight week. How are you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, thank you for the platform to come on. I'm feeling good. Not long just finished training, to be fair. So, like I said, I'm busy all the time, in and out the gym. Yeah, I feel great. Like I'm always on point with my weight and things like that. So it's not like I'm ever drained or feeling rough or anything. Just a busy guy.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you've got family life, work, everything
Yeah,
else, and then trying to do this in between. And you talked about obviously you do everything right and the weight and stuff. Obviously, you're going up the weight class for this. Do you feel any difference in the feeling of fight week as you do for a flyweight, or is it just more the same?
no, so I have a set like program I stick to because I know it works for me. I know I get best results from it, and I'm very kind of regimental on how I do things anyway. Like I'm quite well disciplined that way. So I've got the exact same blueprints as I normally have, and I've just moved it up. That's all it is. Nothing's really changed. There's no big difference. I had loads of time. Obviously, I walk around quite light anyway. So like my walk around weight for flyweight would be 61, 62 anyway. 63 would be my heaviest. And but I've took the time, obviously, between now coming into bantamweight to put a bit more weight on and muscle mass on as well. So, but apart from that, that just meant increasing calories, enjoying a bit more food that I'd normally cut out before now, and just weight training and proper strength conditioning with one of my sponsors. That was the only real changes I've made. Apart from that, everything else has stayed the same.
Yeah, and it's good because obviously you said you're putting on the muscle mass and you're putting on, so obviously your strength going in is going to be much more. A lot of people would just use go like if they're going up a higher weight class, they just kind of go, right, I'm not going to cut weight. Whereas obviously you've cut weight and but you're building the mass as well. Do you feel a strength difference at the moment in training?
Yeah, massively. To start with, it was because I was I was training. I am training a couple of times a day all the way through. And to start with, because by the time I'm training at night, you are a bit lethargic, a bit tired. But as the weeks went on, I started to notice massive difference. Whether it be training with some of the guys that are like I say are really strong or that bit heavier, and then being able to hold my own and out wrestle or wrestle along with them and keep up and just have be able to match them for strength, like things I wasn't able to do as a flyweight before. So strength wise, yeah, massively big difference in the strength department. Still explosive. Nothing's been like sacrificed to be stronger. Everything else is still stayed the same. I'm still like explosive. Still got the speed. Still got the movement. Nothing's settled in any way. Just the same fighter I've always been. Just that little bit heavier.
And obviously, you're known for your punching power, especially at flyweight, because there's not many that can generate that sort of power. Do you think you're going to have even more power at bantamweight as well? Have you been feeling that when you're hitting the pads? Like, how do you feel when you're
Yeah,
throwing the hands?
yeah. So like I said, I always try to focus more on speed, getting to the target first, and just being sharp and reactive. But the power difference is notable. Sound, like the sound from hitting the pads, the power generated on the heavy bag and that aqua ball, um, and then just in a few of the harder spars and that, being able to just like match the bigger guys for power and things like that as well. Yeah, and I'd say a noticeable difference.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to be going for the to become a two-way champion in Clan Wars. Talk to us about Clan Wars and what it means to you to fight on this card because it is the 50th installment. It's a in this historic card, and you have a chance to make a historic moment for yourself. So just tell me about the promotion to you and being able to compete on this card.
Yeah, so I got into MMA solely to get fit. I came away from like the bodybuilding, lifting weight, wasn't really happy. Got into MMA just as a means of a different way of getting fit, so I didn't have to go to the normal regular gym. I started watching clanwars. I think it was one of their shows. It was the one of the shows they had in the Ulster Hall, and I think it was the one that it was Mickey and Loughran fought main card on. The main fight of that show, and from then I think all three of the Corrigan brothers fought on it as well. And then from then it was I was like, okay, maybe this is what I want to do. So I that's when I started watching Clan Wars and seeing the production then when it was in the Ulster Hall and all the way along to finally getting on the show myself. Like I've made it kind of my home and stomping ground, and it's just mostly the Clan Wars. It's just been very like natural. It's been good, and just to see like this 50, like what's gone into the show, like how big and how like prestigious the show will be compared to what's normally for like regional national kind of MMA. It's This will be a massive milestone for like the amount of work going on behind the scenes for what this is going to be. Like especially a lot of the fights, the matchups, what's to come. Like yeah, I couldn't ask for a better show to be fighting on, and the fact I've got the opportunity to fight, become two division champion in quite a short time. It's like kind of legacy stuff in it. That's just something I can tell the kids later on. By the way, I got two belts, two different weight classes on the biggest show that's ever been held in the country.
Yeah, no, it is a fantastic show. And like I said, the production value and what I've noticed recently they've got someone new in as well. It looks like to do the production, and the production looks very, very sharp. Watching at home on pay-per-view, and watching the clips back, they look really good. And this card, there's some stompers on this card. You've got Sam Simon versus Tara Sullivan. I really like that matchup. Then you've got the heated one between Hal Penny and McCarty. You were there for
Yeah.
the press conference, which I really liked for that. Like you said, they're pulling out all the stops. What was it like doing that press conference? Is that kind of like getting you ready for when you go pro, that sort of stuff? Like, and how did it feel to be a part of that? And then obviously the little bit of madness.
Yeah, so everyone on that panel is like they're all guys you'll see on the bigger shows later on, I think, personally. And that's the type of things that you'll be involved with. So just have like the professionalism of just turning up at the right time, the right manner, and obviously conduct yourself correctly on screen for some of us. And yeah, nah, it was good. It was good just to have that bit more build up, that bit more exposure, because as amateur MMA fighters, other than your few friends and family, it's hard to really build that unless you're really good at social media, like some people are. It's hard to really get your name out there for the bigger shows later on down the line if you want to start fighting in the pro ranks.
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate that like you have to use social media, but that's just kind of the way of the world now. Like
Yeah,
some people naturally take to it, some people just want to go and fight, and it depends on where it is. Some people get someone to manage their social media, but I like the fact that they've done that because it brings a little bit extra to the show. Like it was really well, like it apart from obviously what happened with the two boys, like it was good. You were getting to answer questions, you got to feel what it was like, and I really, really, really think this show is going to be a hit. It's a fantastic, fantastic show. But like you said, this is your stomping ground, this is your home, and obviously there's going to be loads of lads from your gym on this card. What is the buzz like right now in gym on fight week? What's it like in the gym?
everyone's it's always the same. Everyone wants to see everyone do well. Everyone's sharp, staying sharp, making sure obviously first things first, nobody's getting injured or anyone's doing anything stupid. The morale, the camaraderie, the whole pushing each other on. Because there's a lot of guys upcoming now. We've got a lot of guys now, I think, on the novice. We've got guys that were fighting novice in the previous show that had great fights, debut and amateur, and everyone just wants to see that progression. So everyone's just pushing each other on, and then having the experience there with myself as well help develop some of the guys that are going to be on this card. It's great to see.
And obviously, you talked about the novice and the amateur debuts and stuff. Like, obviously, you've been fighting a little while. What's it like? What's the levels like coming up from the younger ones? When you see these guys at 18, 19, and you just look at the levels and you're like, wow, like how far the sport's come. Do you see that and go, Jesus Christ?
I look at them and think I wish I started then because I could be flying. See some of the guys coming through now, even guys that have only been training 6 months to a year, the development and how well rounded they are, and how I'd say a lot more of the fight IQs like force them. Like MMA has become a complete different beast now. You don't get away with that one dimensional thing. You need to be good at everything. And the guys coming through, it's not just they're turning up and training once or twice a week. They're probably even the novice guys. They're training 5 times a week. Their nutrition is on point. Their strength conditioning is on point. They're training alongside the amateurs and pros, so they get to see how it needs to be done at the higher level as well. And they're getting that early exposure early on. That's before they've even really decided if they're going to go amateur. So by the time they hit amateur, they're well-rounded, good athletes. Like they're well more defined than what it would have been 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, like you didn't have the nutrition years ago. You didn't have this, like, and everything like just evolves. And the way it is now, it's so technical. And just like you said, you can't, unless you're Khabib, I
Yeah,
don't think you can do the kind of one dimensional thing. It doesn't work. You're gonna get found out very quickly, and it's MMA training now as opposed to striking or this that the other. But obviously you're looking to win the belt this weekend. Your opponent, obviously, he's undefeated. He's coming in. What do you make of your opponent, and what's I don't want to go into your game plan, but obviously you have a game plan for him.
So, Mickey's good. So I've watched Mickey come up as well, and Mickey's actually been training the same amount of time I've been training for. I know he's not been as active and competing as much, but we were speaking about this at the press conference. If anyone ever watched, for the people that watched it, when have you ever seen two people fight each other sat next to each other? Like it doesn't often happen. So that's how kind of laid back and like we're not enemies. We're just professional at what we want to do. There to fight on the day and create some entertainment. Anyway, uh, yeah, Mickey's. I think he's 5-0 all in. And he's got a good style. We've trained together in the past. He's been training as long as I have, so it's not just like he's come out the woodwork this last couple of years. He's got a bit of time in the actual gym and experience. Uh, Game plan wise, my game plan's always the fucking same. I'll go in there and just adapt to what happens, and I'll just fucking bring chaos. I'll like I've said it before. I'm the only person that will take somebody down, get the strikes off, make them work, and then decide to stand up just because I don't want it to be stuck on the floor for 3 minutes. Like I don't think you've seen anyone take me down. I don't think I've ever been taken down in competition. Like uh, other than getting dropped by fucking uh, what's his name,
Joe.
Lewis, by Joe Beck. I don't think anyone's ever been able to take me down or knock me down since. That was very early on. Now I've matured a lot more through MMA. I've become very well rounded. I'll go with the flow. I'm well rounded enough to adapt and adjust to what needs to be done on the day.
Yeah,
I
because
just
like
create fucking chaos.
you're like a little whirl, like not little, but like you're like a whirlwind when you go in there. It's just absolutely like what's gonna happen between your power, your speed as well, your wrestling, everything, the striking. It's just I just always wonder what's about to happen, what's about to happen. But like you were saying with Mickey, it's mad that like there's so much respect in the sport of MMA, and that's what I love about it. Even after the fights, you've tried to kill each other. Someone may have knocked someone out. Like from the outside looking in, that could be quite bizarre. But talk to us about the respect. Like, why is that respect shown between fighters?
Because it's a sport, we all want to. Anyone that's anyone wants to fight is fucking mad, isn't they? It's not a normal, natural thing to do to want to go scrap with cunts. That's never been normal. Most people would walk away, but I think the fact that we know what we all go through, we know how hard the training camps are, we know what's put on the line to get to these places. That I think that's what kind of does it. And at the end of the day, we do it because we just want to see who is the best on the day. That's it. There's nothing. There's no animosity. There's no badness or bitterness behind it. It's just we want to know who's the best on the day, who can turn up and put on the better show, and that's all it is for me. If I could go 3 rounds and lose, but see if it's a good scrap and people talk about it, and it's like, you know what, that's the fucking fight I want to watch again. I'm happy.
Yeah, someone actually said that to me. They were said if they lost a fight from a decision, but it was an exciting fight, they'd rather have the exciting fight than a boring fight and a win. They like
100%.
it's because obviously it's all about entertaining the fans and stuff like that. And as you go further on, that's what they want to see. But you've got a couple of finishes. Do you reckon did because Mickey actually has a does he have a record on Clan Wars for a finish? I think did he have a very quick
I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. I
um
think he's got maybe one. I couldn't tell you. I'm always like every time. To be fair, minus the last time he fought, where he got the headline the fight night they done. I've always been either backstage doing warm ups or cornering myself. So I haven't always got to see.
yeah, I think he does. I reckon there will be a finish in this fight, but I think it's going to be an exciting fight. And you talked about
Yeah.
cornering there as well. Like, how does it feel? Like, obviously, you're a senior member team to corner. What's cornering like at a Clan War show? Like, what? How'd you like it?
So to start with, uh, kind of daunting originally because it's different when you're in there fighting. When you're in there fighting, you're there to do your job. But when you're there and you're calling things out and you're watching things unfold, you're making reads and stuff like that. I think you feel like you've got that bit of responsibility, obviously, the fighter and your teammates in there. You don't want to be the guy that says something. But then again, I've got a lot of guys, and especially the guys that came through novice, that I can name off, like Dylan, Bradford, probably a few others that I've cornered, and I've been able to make reads and calls for them really well, and they've managed to adjust and adapt and get wins off the back of it.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's a surreal feeling, and a lot of people say that when they're cornered, they're more nervous than they would be for their own fight
Yeah,
because
honestly, mate, I leave with no voice. I get more nervous doing that than what I do going to fights. Honestly,
It's mad how that is though. Obviously, I think it's because it's a teammate. You care so much, like you said. There's that bit of responsibility, and you want to see them do well. Obviously,
yeah,
I want to go back to a point you were actually talking about a second ago. That's what I was going to go on to. The fight IQ is what you were talking about, and like you have a game plan, but you're able to change. How important is that fight IQ in a fight? Because we seen Tiernan Loughlin, he fought there, he lost the first round, and they were able to
yeah, they
change
came
the game
back.
plan. And like he came back and then won the 2 rounds. Like how important, like that just shows how important it is. What do you make of your fight IQ? And is that just something you pick up over time, or is it something that's like kind of you're born with?
I think part of it can be picked up in the gym through scenario based drilling and things like that, and putting things like in spars and things like that. Especially if you get any time in the cage, and start putting things together and start to make them kind of reads on how to adapt and how to change things. Uh, it's definitely an experience thing. I don't think you could, it's just something you can have. It's definitely it comes from just time in the fire, knowing when to adjust the game plan, knowing when to let things go. One of the things I see a lot is people don't understand like the distance management and stuff like that, or moving off. And a lot of people like to train track. That's still stuff you'll see early on, and then especially at novice, and then you'll see it adapt completely different when they hit amateur. You'll see a lot more movement, like things like that. It's all experience based.
Yeah, it's like that. It's the more you do it, the more you become accustomed to, kind of the movement, what to do, and when things are going right and when things are going wrong. But obviously, after this, we don't want to look obviously past your opponent, but you would potentially, if you win, you'd go 8-1. Is there any look at pro and obviously in the future, or are you just taking this fight as it comes and then see how the performance is and make a plan after that?
So I never look past what's in front of me. This is the goal. This is the objective just now. So that's all I'm focused on. But like I've put enough groundwork into this that and I'm fucking 30. I'm 31 soon. Yeah, I'm fucking getting old. So gonna I'm not gonna hang about at amateur too long. I want that pro fight or a few pro fights under my belt just to tick off the list. Just so when I do hit that stage where I'm old and struggling to recover and whatnot, I can say, look, I went and done it. I went and done it professional. I was a professional fighter. That's what it is. I'm just making some memories for later on down the line.
Yeah, and obviously there's the link with PFL and Clan Wars. Is that something you'd look forward to, or is that just too distant away? You just want to kind of focus on what's
Oh,
what's
love to do that. That'd be great. I don't know how it worked. I can't remember. I did look into it a while ago, but I know one of them has a flyweight division and one of them doesn't. I can't remember if the PFL had a flyweight division and the Bellator didn't, or if it was vice versa. But I know they're looking at building just through articles and things I read as well, which would be good for the European side over here because I'd be one of the. I would assume I'd be one of the guys that maybe look at bringing in if we could get that to happen.
Yeah, I think flyweights for me is one of the most exciting ones. It's one of the most technical ones. And like if you look at the flyweight division in this country, it's probably the
Brilliant.
best one, I would believe. It's just that's just in my
Yeah,
own opinion.
yeah. I all the flyweights I look at over here. I think we do have the best flyweights in the country here. There's not a boring flyweight fight. You'll not see a boring flyweight fight. Not often. Like unless you just got somebody that's going to solely wrestle to survive, or just to bank the 3 rounds, which doesn't often happen at flyweight because we're so scrambly and so proactive and constantly moving. You're never going to really have a boring flyweight fight. It's always going to be 100 miles an hour for 3 rounds.
Yeah, it's got like that. It's always reversal, in, out, strike, and back down. I think it is the best division. If you just look how stacked it is in this country at the minute, especially at amateur. Which brings me on to my next point is the scene at the minute is absolutely popping. Over the next, I want to say 6 weeks, there's about 7 shows. What do you make of the scene
Yeah.
yourself and the level that we have in this country?
So it's great to see MMA grow, especially regionally, and see that there's a lot more opportunities out there for fighters. But I think now we're almost saturating the market because every show is going to. It's hard to get a show booked as it is that with this many shows on. It's hard to fill shows. It's like I'd say it's getting more difficult. I don't know how it's gonna. I don't know if it's any better or any worse. There's definitely a lot more opportunities for guys coming up, um, which is obviously brilliant. But I think we're hitting the stage now where we're fucking. I think every now and every other week you'll see a different show pop up or the idea of a new show starting somewhere. There is a lot. I don't know how that's going to be fixed or remedied or what.
Yeah, going forward, obviously at the minute, like you look at Cage Conflict have a good card, Clan Wars have a good card. There is enough fighters to sustain that, but over a short period of time,
How do you watch it?
how am I supposed to be in two places? There was originally three
Exactly.
shows on, and Premier ended up pulling the plug. I don't know the exact reasons, but like if you look at even from refs to judges to cut teams, like
Exactly.
it's not that many in the country that can do
No.
that sort of thing.
And then if you've got, so you look at November. November's got a load of shows in it. There's a load of shows. Uh, next, I think there's a couple at the start of December. Then as soon as you hit January, February, March time, you'll probably have another influx of another 6, 7 shows all back to back of each other. Like you said, like trying to kit the judges, referees, cut teams, docs, everyone there. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, logistically, and then like that, I wish they were spread out a bit because there was not much over the summer. I want to say Akuma, Cage Legacy, and Virtus, and over that
Mm-hmm.
3 month period, there was no other shows, and then all of a sudden, there's 6 weeks and 7 shows. It's just it's tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
But like I said, they're filling the cars with shows. We have the talent at the minute, but like how long that can be sustained for, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it can be sustained, which means we're in a good place.
And I think it's hard for the fighters as well because I know there'll be a lot of fighters that. So for me, Clan Wars works out brilliant because it's on my doorstep. Like I said, I am a busy guy. Like it's hard for me to get around a lot. Like there's not enough hours in the day. And for guys that are able, like the young guys that are slowly focusing, I know a lot of them feel like they're loyal to one show, and if they fight in another show, this happens. Or I know there's going to be some of that. And yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit like that. It's who do you if you fought on Clan Wars and Cage Conflict and they both come calling, you're gonna feel
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And I don't think fighters should be put in that position because at the end of the day, these promotions are here for you essentially and to
yeah.
build you. And I know obviously they are businesses, but I don't want a fighter feeling, oh shit, I turned Cage Conflict down or I take it so and feeling bad about it. At the end of the day, just go in and fight. But we'll see how it goes over the next couple of months with the shows. There will be a break after Christmas, thank God.
I'm looking forward to that break after Christmas or come up to Christmas.
I can imagine, and that's probably the beauty of having in November as opposed to kind of late December. Well, I suppose late December for Christmas wouldn't be too bad. And
Yeah.
what like I would presume you enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your food.
I'll
It's
be
a massive
featherweight by
family
then.
time for you.
Yeah, so I'll be a featherweight by then. It'll be a no holds barred everything until probably February time.
Yeah, no, and then obviously I don't know when the shows will be starting back, but hopefully they'll give it a month or two after Christmas and then they'll come back in maybe March. But I'm really looking forward to your fight. Obviously, it's a fantastic one. I wish you the best of luck on trying to get the 2 belts. I'm gonna let you go. Is there anything you want to say before you go? And I want to thank you so much for your time because I really appreciate it on Fight Week.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us back on. Like I said, it's people like you that obviously give us that little bit more exposure, put ourselves out there. And then the other big thank you just be to my wife who does so much, number one supporter, helps me out so much throughout this time. She knows it's hard for me, as well as the kids and work and everything else. Like she does a lot for me, and she's obviously a massive supporter. And then to all my sponsors that have helped me out so far, this whole camp, from round one MMA, sorting me out with my fight kit and tops and stuff. Skyscape who's looked after me with kit and equipment for training, right way massage for sports massages and my strength and conditioning and nutrition. Born to Bleed for all the motivational stuff and the t-shirts and stuff they send me. The Valhalla company for being completely up my street, sending me a load of the North Pagan tops and sponsoring me for this camp. And Rafa's barber for who I need to go see because I look like a gypsy at the minute with a big long hair and I look like I've been living on the streets. Who's going to sort me out this week and give me a haircut?
Do you, is well, a lot of fighters I hear they have like a pre-fight trim or a cut. Is that a thing, or is that just you get a cut the week of the fight? Or
No, I think that's the thing. Actually, I always go like week of the fight. I'll get a haircut and sort myself out and get ready.
yeah, no, it's a fantastic opportunity, fantastic show that you're going to be on this weekend. Like I said, best of luck, and I will talk to you next week after the show.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. And obviously the guys at IFS, the whole club, the team, the coaches, and Clan Wars for fucking giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you after the show on best of skill this weekend.
100%. Thank you, Dave.